Hi everybody, it's James Orton for Mazda of Crystal Lake and the 2020 Mazda 3. Now I happen to be in a 2019 because the 2020s are getting prepped ready for dealer inventory. So we also have a 2020 Mazda 3 hatch that's in polymetal gray with a red interior. I'm really excited to see that. And so what changes in the 2020 model year? So as your standard base model in the Mazda 3, a lot of you already know this, but it's going to change things that are standard safety equipment, like your lane departure warning, your lane keep assist, high beam control, all the things to keep you out of harm's way, and driver attention alert. So if you're over 40 miles and it senses that you might be fatigued, it'll warn you to pull over and take a rest or something like that. Those are changes to the 2020 model year. Now there's a lot that we take for granted that are features within the industry and any car manufacturer that are standard nowadays that kind of get glossed over when you talk about standard equipment or optional equipment. Things like rear cameras, Bluetooth, four-wheel disc brakes with ABS or anti-lock braking system, uh, where it would not lock up the brakes, so you slam on the brakes, it holds the wheels, and then it just keeps going forward, whereas ABS comes in and still lets you steer out of harm's way. I know it's ancient technology, but also still those little things are standard and important. LED lighting, that's standard on a base Mazda 3. Keyless entry, air conditioning, power windows, those are all features standard in a Mazda 3. Now your common MSRP for a base model would be $22,420. I'll just note that if you change a color like the reds, the grays, or the whites, those are extra paint charges. But most commonly, the cheapest you can see in MSRP for the Mazda 3 is $22,420. Now back in the day, like 7-8 years ago, that's a different story. It's more along the lines of maybe 20, a little hair over 21. So not too far off, but we can tell that the more standard equipment that comes on a vehicle, of course, it's going to be more expensive. Now, something to note for the base model is that you can't get all-wheel drive in it, so you'll have to move to a select. So which one's right for you? What do you think you'll need? If you want things like Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you'll probably need to move to the select version. The select version will come with a leatherette interior, whereas that base model will have cloth interior. It will also have a height adjustable seat, good for us fellow Gary Colemans out there, so you can adjust the height of the seat without it being power. So that's also standard in your base Mazda 3 and your select Mazda 3. In addition to those changes, for going to a select, you'll get things like advanced keyless entry, where you can walk up to the door, touch it in a certain spot, and it'll just automatically unlock or lock for you depending on where you touch the door handle. The gloss black on the front grille, that would be gloss black on a, I almost said touring trim, on a select version, but then it would be matte black on a base model version. And did I mention the 16-inch wheel would be standard on the base, and then you would upgrade to a 18-inch wheel that's an alloy aluminum on the select trim. Rear seat armrest, also something that's in a select, so if that's important to you, you might need to look at a select trim. The other feature that might get glossed over is being able to have a lighter color interior, or grayish as Mazda's calling it. A light color or a dark color is offered in a select trim. And then black is only offered in cloth trim on the base model. So let's cover some dollars for this month. For the month of November, Mazda is offering $1,500 off of 2019, or 0.9 for 60 and 2.9 for 72, whereas the 2020 model is $1,000 off, or 0.9 for 60 and 2.9 for 72. As always, they're offering the Mazda owner loyalty, and that's up to $750 in addition to those. And of course, there's other dealer discounts and things like that that we're happy to offer. And then to add all-wheel drive to a select, remember you can't do that on a base model, but you can on a select. It's a $1,400, I guess you would say, upcharge. but your common all-wheel drive MSRP would be $25,020. So hope this information helps. Thanks for hanging out. Make sure you subscribe or like or comment. That would be helpful in improving these videos for Mazda information to you. Have a great week, safe travels, and I'll see you next time.